off to my east, you're looking at the harbor of the Minoan Palace at Kato, Zakro in eastern Crete. It's thought that Zakro was meant to facilitate trade with the east, and we will see that with the main ceremonial passageway right here that leads from the harbor, where traders who are visiting the palace probably walked in a procession. So why don't we follow their route? We're going to turn around away from the ocean that we just came from, and we're going to walk down this, what was once a nice colored flagstone paved ceremonial processional way that leads to the main northeast entry at the palace. And as we approach the palace, we see impressive houses on the right and on the left. We continue on this ceremonial walkway, continuing downward. Other palaces have their main entries on the west, but Kato Zakro had its on the northeast because it was linked to the harbor and to trade with the Near East. There are many finds here that communicate that, such as elephant and hippopotamus ivory and copper oxide ingots that could be made into bronze. Now we're continuing in procession. Perhaps there are others behind me carrying ritual offerings to the palace, or perhaps even in front of me. As we turn to the left, we see near the palace precinct this industrial installation, a kiln either for metallurgy or pottery production. Now we continue along the main ceremonial entryway, and we could actually take it off to the right, which would lead into the town above. But because we have trade with the palace, we're going to continue on into the main northeast entryway. And we approach the palace through this monumental gray limestone threshold block. And then we walk down the ceremonial pathway, which is reconstructed based on flagstone pavement that remains in situ. And we are going into the main northeast court of the palace. Now, this court would have originally been paved with flagstones. Some of it's disappeared, but you can see some remainder of it over here. And as we pass through this northeast court, we pass also a lustral basin. If you remember, a lustral basin is a small room with steps that descend to a small chamber below the floor. And here we approach it through this nice fine paved terrazzo, and the basin, which here is undergoing restoration, is here. You can see the stairway leading down into it and into the chamber, and in the back there are frescoes that depicted horns of consecration. Now, we may have entered the basin if this was our first time in the palace and we were uninitiated, but we've been here before, so we're going to continue back out onto the northeast court and then into the courtyard through this ceremonial entryway.